I know this is the last closing remarks for the day. All of you had a very long day, so I was told to keep to the time. So I have to finish by 5, otherwise the room will be empty before I finish. Anyway, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Some of the colleagues. I met my very good friend, Mr. Datu S.K. Lingam. I was posted to London before for 4 years as the MATRADE Trade Commissioner. So some of the colleagues here are my friends. So let me start by addressing the VIPs, Yang Bahagia Tan Sri Yo Pokon, Chairman of the Royal Selangor International Senang Berhad, Yang Bahagia Dato' S.K. Lingam, President of the Malaysian League UK, my old friend, Yang Bahagia Dato' Dr. Wasihar Hassan, the Executive Vice Chairman of KSI Strategic Institute for Asia Pacific, Ms. Sobian Das, Chief Executive Officer of the Malaysian Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Rizal bin Naini, CEO of SME Corporation Malaysia, esteemed panelists to today's events, Tan Sri Dato', Puan, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, I'd like to extend apologies from my Deputy CEO, Puan Syarif Matun. I think she was here this afternoon. She was supposed to give these closing remarks, she's unable to attend this session because of prior engagement with the Minister. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon. First and foremost, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation on behalf of MATRADE for the invitation to this evening to share and offer our closing remarks. And I'm honored and privileged to be here today, present distinguished personalities and guests. Let me begin today by addressing the theme of the forum, which is meeting Malaysia's export challenge. Talking about exports, I'm delighted to share that in 2022, last year, Malaysia's trade performance achieved another milestone. We surpassed our national trade, surpassed the 2 trillion ringgit for the second consecutive year, and registered the fastest growth since 1994. You see the panelists today, pandemic was a big challenge for us, but despite all the challenges, we did very well in terms of trade last year, and also our export last year expanded by 25%, the highest ever, to 1.55 trillion ringgit, and that exceeded the projection of the 12 mission plan 3 years ahead of the target. So we actually has achieved our target 3 years ahead. So we could, some people say we could rest now. We already achieved the target. So, but we still have a lot of work to do to keep the economy resilience to the challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, as economists predicted for 2023, Malaysia's trade performance is expected to grow at a softer pace. This is a result of the global concerns brought on by inflationary pressures. There's a lot of prolonged geopolitical tensions, the Russian and Ukraine war, the exporters' ability to meet market expectations for ESG products. The panelists was talking about the sustainability issue, disruption in the global supply chain, and volatility in the commodity prices, palm oil, petroleum, and so crude petroleum, and so on. And then WTO said that for 2022, our merchandise trade grew, the global merchandise trade, the world, grew about 3.5%, and expected for this year, the World Trade Organization forecast is that our global trade will only grow about 3.4%, 1% less than last year. However, depending on current economic conditions, some economists, although there's a lot of reports that EU and US may be facing recession, there's some reports that in fact EU has recorded some growth in the first 2-3 months, and also USA. So let's see what happens. Probably some changes in geopolitical tensions, US-China trade tensions. But if that situation improves, that will be good for the global economy and also our global trade. I want to speak about mid-tier companies. They are, accounts for around 2.6% or probably less than 6% of the business establishment in in Malaysia. We work closely with mid-tier companies, and they are an important driver of exports. And mid-tier companies actually develop a very competitive supply chain where 75% or around 7,000 MSME actually are involved in supplying in the MTC, the mid-tier export supply chain. So basically, mid-tier who exports a lot of products help 7,000 SMCs in the supply chain. So MSME may not be directly involved in the exports, but they are indirectly involved in helping export grow by supplying product and components to the main exporters, including MNC as well. So in terms of socio-economic impact, more than 4,000, this is according to the mid-tier company, more than 4,000 new jobs were created, including skilled jobs, engineers, and technical positions. Mr. Rizal mentioned today that SME's contribution to export is still very small. In 2021, it's about 7.9%. The target under Article 12 is 25%. So basically, exports contribute in 2021. Exports contribute around 80.3% to Malaysia's GDP. Trade is about 144% to Malaysia's GDP. So basically, Malaysia is a trading nation. A lot of our GDP, our economic value growth depends on trade, export. But as I said just now, SME only contribute around very little, 7%. So more than 92% are basically exports contributed by non-SMEs. So we have to really look into that. Yeah? So in terms of what we do, MATRADE will continue our efforts to ensure all stakeholders will benefit from all activities, especially today. They mentioned about the FTAs, numerous free trade agreements. We have signed 16 free trade agreements. Malaysia has 16 bilateral and regional trade agreements, including RCEP and CTPP. And we anticipate market challenges. As we open up the market, we can go into new markets with lower tariffs. But at the same time, we have to open our markets to products coming to our country. So we have to be more resilient. And then we have to understand that our strategic location not only attract more products going to the country, but also in more investment. So we have to work together in the associations, the industries, all the agencies work together to maintain Malaysia's competitiveness in the global trading ranking. So through the FTA, more opportunities will be created, but at the same time, more challenges will entail through more FTAs that we sign. And up to, for 2022, nearly 70% of our global trade comes from FTA. So how important FTA is? So 70% of our global trade and exports, around 67% of our global exports, are coming from all the 16 FTAs that we have signed. So MATRADE will continue to support this together with MITI and to reinforce our business resilience and sustain the momentum for economic growth. Under MATRADE, we have three main big agendas: digitalization, sustainability, and the natural trade blueprint. So under the digitalization initiative, MATRADE will continue to enhance export knowledge, and also we will continue to facilitate exports through e-trade. We have a program called e-trade. We have basically supported by 500 over companies to export through e-platform. We have signed collaboration with many of the big e-commerce platforms like Halal Street, eBay, Trade India, Alibaba. All the big platform, global platform, have signed collaboration with MATRADE. So we help SMEs to go into the market through e-trade platform, and we also support the ASEAN sales online, which happen every year on 8th of August. So last year, through our digitalization initiative, we organized the first fully virtual MIHAS 2021. MIHAS, as you know, is the largest halal showcase in the world, and we were given a recognition by the World Trade Organization, and we were given an award for the best use of information technology, the best TPO in the world for 2021 by ITC. So there were a big recognition for the achievement of Malaysia in using digital tools, digital platform to support trade, especially through MIHAS. So this year MIHAS will be organized again by MATRADE from 12 to 15 September, a hybrid version, both physical and virtual. So we hope that all of you here will be able to participate as exhibitors or visit MIHAS this year. It will be held in MATRADE. The other challenges that we face and we recognize SMEs also mid-tier are facing is meeting ESG compliance products in the world. Markets such as US, our key markets, USA, EU and Japan, have basically demanded more ESG compliance products to be exported there. Germany has basically, EU has basically about, or maybe has already enacted the deforestation regulation, where they will not be importing any more palm oil because of deforestation issues, which is probably not a true picture of what's happening in Malaysia, but it's how the EU are. And then we have this carbon cross-border mechanism, where we get to ensure that products sold into Germany this year must be sourced from sustainable resources. So it's a lot of new challenges that, not just SMEs, but big companies face. Even big companies face challenges in meeting that, what more SMEs in meeting the ESG challenges. So, 66% of Malaysia's top 10 export markets in 2022 are to countries with net zero targets. So basically, 60% of our exports, 60% of our Malaysia's top 10 export markets will now require our exporters to meet ESG. If we don't meet that, we will lose 62% of our exports. That is so very important. So we really have to prepare ourselves for them. And for that, we have responded, MATRADE responded, in terms of organizing program, we're going to organize the government sustainability engagement program, where we want to green the supply chain, working together with EPU and all other banks to ensure that SMEs and companies can be assisted to fulfill export requirements that meets ESG punya regulation and so on. There are many other issues that's shared by the panelists today. I was there sitting there listening, and one of them, they touched on talent. We really have to look into talent, especially SME, in terms of upgrading our marketing skills, professional skills, workforce, wages, and we're touched by about the need to maintain good wages, or to maintain talent. We are losing talent. The more talent we lose, and the more negative impact we have on the SMEs, on our exporters. There were issues about upgrading efficiency, innovation and creativity by adopting IR 4.0. I think there's a need for SMEs and all other companies to look into that. I think government has some grants under BT to help companies move up the value chain using IR 4.0 grants. Another issue that's important that MATRADE sees is about branding. Going around the world is about branding. I think you listen today discussion. Maybe they do not touch on branding, but branding is such an important image for the SMEs or any companies go abroad, exporters, in terms of ensuring quality, consistency, and image and PR. So, people buy because of Malaysia. We have the Malaysia made in Malaysia brand. If you buy a German product, you feel safe and so on. You know the quality. So we need to establish brand, national brand of Malaysian products. And also the other one was standard about certification. It costs a lot to certify products export. For example, if you're in the medical devices, it spends about 20,000 per SKU just to certify your products to go to export. And other challenges are financing, touched by the panelists just now, and also about dealing with logistics. One of them mentioned about logistics, Sabah, Sarawak, logistics. It depends. Logistics, depending where you are placed, located, but that will eat into a lot of cost. Okay? So another big agenda that MATRADE will attend to, other than sustainability and digitalization, is the National Trade Blueprint. National Trade Blueprint is a 5-year program that will guide Malaysia into making the country a more competitive nation for the next 5 years until 2025. So we are about halfway here. So we will look into the ecosystem, logistics, customs, raw material, and so on. And these are the challenges that will be addressed very holistically through the National Trade Blueprint that MATRADE Secretariat, and we work with a number of agencies and have 8 working groups looking at the export ecosystem to ensure that export and trade continues to be a big contributor and remain a big contributor to the growth of the Malaysian economy. Lastly, MATRADE is also working together with the state government through a program called Growthpreneur. We are working closely with trade for the state government like Sabah, Sarawak, Terengganu to develop more SMEs for the state. Of course, targeted SMEs. Not everyone can be exporter, of course, but we develop together. So, working together with the state government, we identify exporters or would-be exporters. We train them, we guide them, we teach them how to become exporters, and we bring them out through the cooperation of the state government. So, we work closely with Sabah, Sarawak, Pahang, Terengganu, Kelantan, and so on. So, there's a lot of challenges that we have to face globally and also domestically in order to grow our, to be resilient in terms of our export ecosystem, and also ensuring that our economy continue to grow through trade and exports. So we have a very big role to play. Finally, we are having a lot of programs for this year, and I hope those who are members of MATRADE or not yet members of MATRADE, please become a member of MATRADE to identify some of the programs that we are going to undertake for this year. We have the Jawatan Kasut Export. We work closely with 22 agencies in Malaysia, and a total around 307 promotional programs will be organized this year, not just for under MATRADE, but CIDB, Pharma, franchising, and so on, all under ministries. So we have to look at the whole ecosystem in order to grow our exports and trade in the next few years under the National Trade Blueprint. So I'm confident that the panelists today, a discussion that you had in the morning, and also the last panelists have basically added a lot of value to the knowledge about export, the challenges that we need to face, and also help us in terms of policymakers to prepare good policies and also to work together, with the associations, with the industries, with the councils, and we also the think tanks to develop stronger policies, trade policies.